Shalom Talmidim, we have gone through so much of the story of Korach. They had the rebellion, they had everyone gathering on Moshe and Aaron, they had the test, which was supposed to settle everything, the reaction of a test which seemed to settle everything. We had Korach, the Kol Adato, swallowed into the ground, some others burned during the test, and we settle, and Elazar takes the remains, the Machtot, and he makes it Sipoy the Mizbeach, a cover to Mizbeach, as a Zikaron, as a reminder, don't do this, that no Ish Zar should be bringing the Ketoret, that only Bnei Aaron should be bringing the Korbanot, and that we should not be like Adat Korach. And we left off, and it seemed that we were done. And suddenly, we see that we are not. The next rebellion, the next challenge is brought upon Moshe and Aaron here. Vayilonu kol adat b'nei Yisrael mimacharat. We have the next day. Mimacharat means the next day. Vayilonu, they accused. Kol adat b'nei Yisrael accused. This is the subject here. These people, vayilonu, because it ends with u and it starts with yud, right? They accuse. Al Moshe ve'Aaron lemor. They accuse Moshe and Aaron, saying, Atem hemitem et am Hashem. You killed the nation of Hashem. Now, I would have thought that after the test, which everyone agreed upon, to determine who is the chosen person, that a miraculous from Hashem reaction and response, which killed people, would clearly not be Moshe and Aaron. The whole test is to see, is Moshe and Aaron going to be the group that is chosen? And yet, they can turn that and they can twist it. We really see some of the depths of reactions here, how they're going to find some way to undermine Moshe and undermine Aaron, no matter what, even if it's so obvious that they were in the right. Kol adat b'nei Yisrael, not just adat Korach anymore, not just a few people, but a big majority of people, a big group, come at them. And when the next day, right after Elazar makes this zikaron, the reminder not to do this, they're back and they're doing it. And they go against Moshe and Aaron, accusing them. On your cheat sheet, the same one, we're going to continue using it. Vayilonu, we have accused. We have mamacharat, the next day. And we have hemitem, you killed. I want to take a minute to look at these words real quick. Yud at the beginning and u at the end, vav, u at the end, kibbutz, shows us that this is they're doing it. So who's doing it? Kol adat b'nei Yisrael. This whole big group of people, many of them, are coming and accusing b'nei Yisrael. When are they doing it? Mamacharat, from that word machar, the next day. And what are they accusing Moshe and Aaron of doing? V'heimitem, that you killed them, ignoring the fact that it was clearly Hashem and accusing them. Now, on questions later on, when it asks, what did they do? They said, Vayilonu, they accused. Who did it? Kol adat b'nei Yisrael. And when did they do it? Macharat, you have all of those pieces because you filled out your cheat sheet. When I ask, what do they accuse Bnei Yisrael, Moshe and Aaron of doing? Hemitam, from that word mavet, of the you caused them to die. You have them all right here on your cheat sheet. Let's take them down. So as they are gathering, as they are accusing, Vahi b'hikahel ha'eda al Moshe v'al Aaron, the same language that hikahel about Korach from the very beginning of the story, again on Moshe and Aaron, as they go through v'yifnu el ohel moed, and they turn toward the ohel moed, v'hine kisahu ha'anan v'yera kavod Hashem. Suddenly, covering the Mishkan, covering the Aaron, or the ohel moed rather, had the Aaron in it, the kisahu ha'anan v'yera kavod Hashem, the anan, the cloud of glory, the spiritual expression in a tangible form, one that you can actually see. You can see the glory of Hashem comes down and they're able to see Hashem showing himself to them. Imagine, anytime you made a mistake, Hashem just shows himself and says, hey, no, they were right. You should have listened to Moshe and Aaron. It was incredible. It was immediate, right after they had ignored that zikaron, that reminder. Suddenly Hashem is showing, no, you can't ignore this. This is not Moshe and Aaron's fault. This is Hashem, and Hashem doing it because it's the right thing to do. Meaning, the Eidah, the Bnei Yisrael here that are rebelling, they're in the wrong. You have a few more words right here. I want to take a look at them. V'yikahel is in their gathering. The shorish of Pana is to turn. The shorish of Kisa is to cover. And the shorish of Ra'ah is to see. I want to look at these words more carefully because they're really good for learning that Hebrew grammar. V'yikahel means to gather in. We know that one. What's more interesting here is v'yifnu. That comes from the shorish of Panei. I have a few rules going on here. Number one, again, you know who's doing it because it's Yud and then Vav, U. You have a Yud, U at the end is going to be they are doing it. They will, or with a Vav in Chumash, it's they did. And you also notice that one of the letters of the shorish is missing. The Hey goes away because it is a Yonah letter. It flies away. So you drop that Hey, and if Yud Vav here, and it's Vayifnu, they did it. They turned. They turned the Oel Moed. Imagine them turning. Wow. The Oel Moed has the cloud of glory, the Anana Kavod on it. Then, we have Kisahu. It's one thing doing it, it's covering it. Kisahu here, it's a little confusing, because it is covering it. It's one thing covering it. It's the Anan covering it, that U is referring to as covering it. If it was Kisu, that would mean they covered it. That's because it's a Hey. The Hey would drop for third person, for third multiple people, in the past for that word. That's more advanced. You're not going to have to know all those pieces, but it's interesting to note, and it does help you to know about. Lastly, we have Ve'era Kavod Hashem. The Kavod Hashem here, again, that Hey is dropped because it is a Yonah letter. Now, it really means more that it was seen, but again, you're not going to be tested on that as long as you know that they are seeing it. Who can figure out why am I pointing that out? What would you have thought if it really meant they are seeing it? What do you think? Take a shot. So, after that comes Vayava Moshe v'Aaron el Panei Ohel Moed. Moshe and Aaron came toward the Ohel Moed as the Anan was there. V'daber Hashem el Moshe lemor, and Hashem speaks to Moshe right there. And he tells them. Moshe at this point, imagine, he just dealt with the rebellion of Korach. He just dealt with the aftermath of the rebellion of Korach. He dealt with talking to Elazar about making a zikaron. He must be so frustrated. He must be so struggling to get a hold of Bnei Yisrael here. What's he going to tell him? We have these two here again. Bo in their gathering really should mean, and their coming is probably a better translation, and Panei is toward. They come toward that. Take those down in your cheat sheet. So, Heiromu mitoch ha'eda hazot, ve'achale otam karega v'yiplu al paneihem. You have the real showing that Moshe Rabbeinu is a leader here. Hashem comes toward them as they go to the Ohel Moed at this point, and Hashem says, Hairemu, that same word, remove yourself. Mitoch ha'eda, get away from the Eidah. Why getting away from the Eidah Azot? Why are you getting away from them? Because ve'achale otam. Moshe is warned, and Moshe's been warned before, that you need to leave this people because I'm going to destroy them, annihilate. Kilion, kile, it means to just completely wipe them out. Karaga, in one moment, they're just done. Hashem, so to speak, has lost his patience with them. And what's their reaction? What's Hashem's reaction? Or Moshe and Aaron's reaction, rather? Ve'yapelu al paneihem. We've seen that before. They fall on their face. That happened when Korach first rebelled against them. They didn't know what to do. Here, they're falling on their face again. Not because they don't know how to handle it, but because they're begging Hashem, maybe overwhelmed with how to beg Hashem not to do this. Moshe, despite how difficult these people have been, he's standing up for them. He's not abandoning them, and he's trying to maintain his status as a leader and stick up for them and be, hey, I want to keep this nation. How can we do that? What are we going to do? We have these words. Again, I apologize. This is a typo. This should say Heromu is remove yourselves. Get away from them. Kala is to annihilate. And Karaga is in a moment. Nafal, Shoresh is to fall. Again, let's take a look at these words real quick. The word Heremu, we're not going to be testing that Shoresh. The word Kala, though, is interesting. It's that aleph at the beginning. I will. It's not achal. It's not eat. Right? We know that because that hey there is part of the Shoresh. And who's doing it if it's eat? It could be she's eating, but who's she in this case? When we refer to Hashem, there are aspects of Hashem that are feminine, but we usually refer to it as a language thing, a grammar, as he. So here it's kaleh, I will annihilate them. Karaga in that moment, and we polu, again, the Yonah letter, the nun drops off, yud at the beginning, u at the end, they will. Because the vav, because the chumash means they did. It fell on their face. We're going to see that there was an immediate reaction, there was an immediate consequence that came from Hashem that moved towards Kala, that moved towards destruction. We've seen similar ones before, not in the parsha of Korach, but previously in Chumash, and we're going to see that something that is so essential to this story is going to be used as the solution to this problem. It's going to be used as how to stop this from happening. The very, very place that this all started with, that test, this particular chapter of them accusing that Hashem was Moshe and Aaron causing death to these people, that's going to be the solution to stop the annihilation from happening. What do you think that is? What do you think is going to happen to them? And what do you think is going to stop that thing from happening? Take a shot at it. Don't just say, I don't know. Take a real hypothesis. Take a real educated guess. As long as you're showing that you're thinking about it, it's the right answer. And we'll find out what happens next.